Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Wednesday? Do I have it right tonight? It's Wednesday. How's it going, folks? Nick DiPaolo Show. Nice to be with you. Rotten Yankees are up 5-0. Those bats are coming alive at the right time, I'll tell you. Anyway, just having a good belly laugh because we were watching the ball game and commercial came on. We have 3 monitors and a commercial came on for those copper pans that nothing stick to, apparently. Well, I ordered one about a year ago. I fucking ordered one. It did just the opposite. I have never had a pan have more shit stick to it. I put water in it. I tipped it over. It wouldn't come out. I feel like I was punked or trolled or some shit. I'm not kidding you. Everything stuck to it. It was like Nerf pan. It was fucking, I was furious. I started getting my car to drive to Ohio to confront this guy on the infomercial. I made pork chops. I couldn't get them out of the pan. We couldn't eat them. They were stuck in the pan. I tried prying them out. All that stuff is space age technology, stuff like that. It's So cut to me on the phone trying to order my own rocket ship. Fucking, it was the funniest thing. I've never seen a pan fucking worse. Everything was burning in it. My wife was belly laughing. What was the one line I had there, Andy? Something about stick.
I think we went over them all.
No, we're missing the best one. I don't know what it was.
Over the head?
Yeah.
Got that.
I drove to Ohio, hit the guy with the pan. Stuck to the side of his head. Here I am. Oh, my God. I couldn't believe it, though. I put soup in there. It stuck. Copper. Same with my pillow. Got one of those, too. Worst pillow ever. That's not a sponsor, is it? I sleep better leaning my head against a fire hydrant on this. My pillow. Woke up with a headache.
Oh, yeah, the sink sticks.
What are the sink sticks? If you have a clog in your sink, you put this little stick down the drain. So I'm like, okay, if that works for that, how about you? I've been constipated for like 3 days. How about I drop one in myself? Or have somebody do it for $7.50. What are you looking at? Focus. You're my audience. What? She's fine. What are you sending her?
I'm texting her something about the show.
Yeah.
Technical stuff.
Anyways.
You do your thing.
866-969-1969. Where do you want to get started? I don't know. How about this man suspected of killing 3 co-workers this morning in Maryland? He was captured in Delaware tonight. Radid Labib Prince. Sounds like a cornerback for any defensive outfit in the NFL. Allegedly shot 5 people, killing 3 at the Advanced Granite Solutions office in Edgewood, Maryland. Why am I bringing this up? Because didn't we hear last week, a couple weeks ago, it's always a white guy. Wherever there's a mass shooting, or guess this doesn't fall into that. Well, it does because more than 4 people were shot. But isn't that the refrain we always hear, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he entered the facility before 9 a.m. He was an employee there. Just a violent. Why you'd hire him in the first place? I don't know. What do you say, Nick? Discriminate? Yeah, I don't know. Single handgun used in the attack. I'm sure Hillary will be piping in a few minutes. Pelosi. He fled the scene in a 2008 black GMC Acadia. Anyways, I don't understand this article because it says he was captured this evening in Delaware, but then it goes into the rest of the. It's out of whack. It's we know all this. What happened this morning? He's got a long criminal history. How about this, folks? For you people who keep telling me how unjust the justice system and how racially it's just not fair. Guy had 15 felony convictions and 4 misdemeanors in Delaware alone. But it's so slanted, I guess, racially. March 2015, charged in Cecil County with firearm possession. with felony conviction, as well as 3 related misdemeanors: possession of a firearm, illegal possession of ammunition, having a handgun in a vehicle. In February this year, a man named Philip Siason filed a petition for a peace order against Prince. In his account of why he was filing, Siason said that Prince was an employee of his at JPS Marble and Granite in Forest Hill, Maryland, and that he fired Prince for punching another employee in the face. He came back to our business justifying what he did was right because the other guy was saying stuff he didn't like. And there's the world we live in. That's the country we live in. You don't even have to be as crazy as this guy. There's a lot of people think, Antifa and people like that. Siason said Prince later tried to collect unemployment benefits from the company, but the company told the unemployment agency that Prince was already working for another company. On February 27th, Prince cursed and yelled at Siason about the unemployment benefits. Siason wrote in the filing, "I felt very threatened because he's a big guy, very aggressive on me." The order was denied because the court said there was no statutory basis for relief, that Siason could not meet the required burden of proof. Yeah, it's all so racist and slanted towards Whitey. Bullshit. Anyways, they got him tonight, but he shot somebody else in Delaware. Okay? Piece of goddamn garbage. Uh, 866-969-1969. But all I've been hearing since Vegas is it's always the white guys, always the white guy. Nope. You don't even hear. Why am I telling this story? Because these don't get told half the time. That's why. Just trying to point out the double standard. And then, how about this? This is in Maryland also. Bus passenger attacked disabled. Bus passenger attacked a disabled white man in a wheelchair. The black guy was screaming about slavery. Attacked on a Maryland mass transit bus. This article says by an African American. They can't even use the word black. Who seemed to be blaming the victim for putting his ancestors into slavery. And I love people will go, well, he's just mentally ill. This isn't isolated. I love how mental illness manifests itself with anti-white feelings a lot of the times. The 52-year-old victim was a passenger on a Metro bus in Washington, D.C. suburb of Silver Spring, Maryland, when Marquis Evans Royster began spitting in his face and hurling racial epithets. The harassment began almost immediately after Evans Royster boarded the bus without paying the fare, by the way. Why was that allowed? The victim, the poor guy's in a wheelchair who is homeless and remains unnamed in reports, initially tried to ignore Evans Royster's taunts, but finally tried to push the attacker away when he began to go through the victim's pockets while yelling, "You owe me for making my grandmother a slave." That could be anybody in the Democrat Party yelling that. How about that? When other passengers began to try to intervene to stop Evans Royster, what's that, his maiden name he kept when he married his bitch, from attacking the victim, the attacker threatened to douse them with urine. The guy was carrying a bottle of urine, by the way, folks. Maybe Hillary should do that next time she runs. Instead of hot sauce, she'll have a bottle of urine in her bottle. Anyways, so there's 2 cases of nutty black people. And it's not just white people who feel the way. How about you ever hear this pastor down in, I think it's Pastor Franklin, I want to say. I want to say he's in Atlanta, somewhere down the south. But he's black, by the way. Listen to him. I'm sure you've seen this guy online before, but here's his thoughts about crazy black folk.
Got a problem. Black folk don't understand the world. You can get mad with me all you want. You can say what but you can't prove me wrong. Now, I'm not saying this because I hate black folk. I'm saying it because I love you enough to tell the truth. And the only person going to ever help us get out of the situation is going to be God. There's something wrong with the black man's mind. There's something wrong with his mind.
Something wrong with his mind. That's a black guy saying it, folks. I'm just saying. There's something wrong with everybody's mind. Okay, this is crazy and everything. The kid who shot up, remember Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Asian fella. But I'm just saying, if it's mental illness, I like how it manifests itself in the slavery message. That's as crazy as guy's got 19 voices in his head, and that's the one that sticks out. But they arrested him 4 days later, this guy, after identifying him on a bus, on a video. He was charged with assault and racial harassment. The attacker already has long police record, including charges of race or religious harassment, robbery, and assault. So why do I keep hearing how unjust the court system is? When these guys have records as long as their fucking arms. See how I cleaned it up nice? Somebody answer me that. I keep hearing how unjust it is. But they're on the straight and they have fucking 90 convictions. So don't tell me it's unjust. It's actually too lenient. Vince?
What the hell's going on out here?
I don't know. Still pissed about those copper pans, I'll tell you. 866-969-1969. I thought I'd open with the light stuff tonight. I can't help it. Love to watch CNN try to report this shit and Shepard Smith and... We just looked up there. I just looked up at the TV, folks, okay? We have CNN and we watch it like for comedy. It literally said underneath, the way Mike Pence looks at Trump. They're doing a whole segment on how Pence stares at Trump.
Gazes
at him. And they said Trump, Reagan didn't get stared at. Nancy Reagan didn't stare at Ronnie like that.
Well.
What do you mean, well? What does that mean?
Nancy. You're old.
So what? She was fucking madly in love with him is the point. And that's what they're implying. You never saw Michelle gazing lovingly at Obama. You know why? Because she doesn't like men. That's just a theory I'll throw out there. But they're doing a whole segment on how Pence stares at Trump like he's in love with him. CNN, how the fuck are you still on the air? Please, somebody help me. Goodness gracious, Heloise, 866-969-1969. Tomorrow night, Robert Kelly will be here for the second hour of the show. Catch me this weekend at the Westport Inn, Westport, Connecticut, on Saturday night. And then November 10th and 11th, I'll be at the Comedy Works, Saratoga Springs. November 17th, Cary Memorial Hall, Lexington, Mass. November 18th, the Cabot Theater, Beverly, Mass. But it's a violent world out there, folks, of all stripes. But I'm just saying, if that was a white fella today that shot up the fucking office, it will be on CNN right now on a loop. It would be on NBC, it would be on CB on a loop about systemic racism, institutional racism. These will be in the news for today and tomorrow and gone. Just like that. And nothing we could do. He's gone. Yeah, he was gone. I'm going to get to the Democratic Congresswoman who got into a real pissing match with President Trump. He made a call to a widow. Her husband was killed over in that Niger attack. They were ambushed, 4 soldiers over there, and he made a call and a bunch of people in the car. And, of course, this Democratic Congresswoman who's fucking loopy. She makes Maxine Waters look sane. She wears cowboy hats on the floor of this... Boy, have we sunk to a new low. She's fucking mentally ill, hates Trump, and she said he was very insane. We'll get into that in a few minutes too. But divided's not even the word anymore. Really. But anyways, you think this would be considered workplace violence? Like when Hassan Adal shot up? Remember the military guy, the Muslim who shot up a bunch of people? You know? That's my point. About 5 years ago?
Too many.
Yeah. but Obama labeled it workplace violence until we found out he was a fucking disgruntled Muslim who fucking hated this country. And, you know, the FBI right away today jumped in. Oh, it's just a work, you know, isolated. May or may not be, but the point is the experiment's not working, folks. Let's go to Wayne in Old Canada. Wayne, what's going on?
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good, good. I just want to comment on that. It's, you know, in Canada, it's even worse. You know, the liberal left media and our prime minister.
No, it's not, but go ahead.
Well, the evening before the Vegas shooting, we had a guy in Edmonton that was a Somali that was deported from the States, actually, and Canada brought him in.
Right.
And he rammed a car into a police officer, stabbed him in the head and neck numerous times, then ran away. Come back with a large U-Haul truck later that evening and mowed down a bunch of, 5 people leaving a hockey game. And the first thing out of the politicians, first he had an Islamic flag in his car, and it was originally reported on the scene that night as a terrorist act. But then the very next morning, all the politicians said, "Oh well, we shouldn't hate." They didn't say anything about terrorism.
Of course not.
Don't hate the Muslims, right? Don't hate. It's just an individual kook, is what they said.
Yeah.
But it just laid before you all the evidence, but the media here just will not accept it, right?
Right.
It just kills me. It's the same with the feminists. They trounce the Western values about being bigots and sexist, but they won't stand behind the mistreatment of women across other cultures.
Right.
The Muslims being predominantly the ones.
Yeah.
And it just, I tell you, they wonder why the world's falling apart. It's because we have nothing but pussies and cowards running it.
No, really, yeah. It's all, and it's all, like you said, it's all done under the guise of tolerance and shit. People have already forgotten. You brought up Canada. We've already forgotten about that. Remember in Ottawa, the attack on the...
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ, that's already in the rearview mirror. We've already forgotten about that.
Well, and that was guised as a lone wolf operation too. But he was Al Akbar while he was doing it and all the rest of it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it just sickens me that men are becoming women, and the liberal agenda that's been on the society for 40 years has turned us into this mishmash.
Yeah.
And the barbarians are at the gate, and they're going to win by subversion, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, it seems that way. We'll have to take it into our own hands. But you're right. The whole global agenda seems to be, again, under the guise of tolerance. I don't know what the end game is, what their end goal is. I know it in this country. It's to take down everything that's great about this country or made it great. Thanks for the call, Wayne. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
But, I love how they jump right out there, right away. It's not a terror. Well, in this situation, probably not. The workplace violence and but that's not the point. It's still I don't even know the race of the victims in this, as far as the Maryland shooting and stuff. Co-workers, I don't know. But like the white guy in a wheelchair being attacked by a black, if it was switched around, you would never hear the end of it. It would just be another example of your racist America, and Let's go to Pink. Pink Johnson? Pink? Is that right?
Yeah, Tank Johnson.
Tank.
How you doing?
All right, Tank. It said Pink on the screen. I'm sorry, Tank. It's a big difference between Pink and a Tank. Tank Johnson, what's up?
Yeah, Tank Johnson, retired NFLer. Just wanted to weigh in on this systemic oppression. I'm listening to you, and I don't think that you believe that there's systemic, oppression and racism, and there's so much evidence of it in this country. You know, I don't think that it's something that we have to lean on as African Americans anytime we're trying to advance in life. But I do think it's incumbent upon like everyone to acknowledge that it did exist.
That it did, or it does?
Well, that it does exist.
There's racism in our society. There's racism in every society, Tank. But what's happened in this country, you'd think this was the only nation where racism exists. And it's probably the freest and the most fair country on the planet. We know there's racism, but where else would you rather be?
No, listen, I love America. You know, I got a chance to play in the NFL. I currently work there, and I got I got a college education, but at the same time, you know, I'm a sociology major where we definitely study the racism in America, and they blatantly tell you whether it's mass incarceration, the war on drugs. I mean, there's so many different things that point to it, and it kind of seems like you're acting like it never happened or it doesn't exist, and it does.
No,
exist.
Of course it exists, but not to the extent. And you just said it. You guys study the racism in America. Do you study it? What goes on in any other country?
We're studying racism in America.
Yeah, just America. It's never existed anywhere else, right? How about America?
No, I'm sure.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sure it exists plenty of other places, but my point is this: is that if there's been a systemic railroading of black men into the prisons and things like that,
that's baloney. That's absolute baloney. It's not. You're not being.
What about the mandatory? What about the mandatory minimum sentences? What about that?
Tank? What about 78% of black kids being born out of wedlock? They grow up in a one-family house, and we all know that leads to what? That's the problem.
You know why they're the one-parent houses? Because one of their parents is in prison.
Yes, for what? But unjustly, you're gonna tell me every black man in prison is there unjustly. I would tell you that there's
I would tell you that there's a much higher percentage of black men in jail unjustly than anywhere in any other country.
I know you would. I know you believe that because you've been brainwashed. It's not. I just did 2 stories with both the suspects had records a mile long. How are they still on the street if the court system's so unjust? Every story I read about when a black guy gets busted, he's got 19 to 33 prior arrests. So why is he on the street? If it's so fucking unjust, why isn't he in jail, Tank?
Hey, people do slip through the cracks.
Slip through the crack? It's every other story.
Slip through the cracks, probation, all types of shit.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is there's definitely people who are in jail right now. I took a class called The Miscarriage of Justice, talking about how many people are falsely imprisoned, and the numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
Like staggering.
Yes. And I'd like to know who did that study and who taught it, because we all know there's no. I know. I believe it. A white liberal who fucking hates this country more than some black people do. But Tank, you know what? I saw your name up on the screen, and I'm like, why do I know this name? Even when it said Pink Johnson, I'm like, why does that sound familiar? So look, I do.
Yeah.
There's definitely we have problems in this country racially, but it doesn't. The problem, in my opinion, we don't acknowledge the progress that's been made. All we hear is how bad it is. And like I said, they don't focus. By the way, this country ended slavery. We didn't invent it. You don't hear anything about that. You don't get taught that on college campuses. All we hear is the negative. It's raised more people. Capitalism in this country has taken more people out of poverty than any other system ever. Yes, it's flawed, but not to the degree that like your liberal professors say. I really believe.
Sure. No. Thanks for taking my call. You know, I just want to say that if we as people just have a dialogue, I listen to you. You know, I think you're great. I think you're amazing at what you do. I don't always agree with you, but I can listen to it. I can stomach it, and I wouldn't mind
Thank you.
It's the people who are not willing to converse that is the problem.
Okay. Hey, Tank, call back, will you?
No problem.
Thanks, man. I saw.
But,
take care. I saw. I saw it up there, and I'm like, why does Pink Johnson sound? And it was fine. Tank, Bengals, right?
Bengals, Bears.
Bears.
Yeah, and maybe Dallas too, maybe.
But I do remember Tank Johnson. Huh? That's a great name to have.
Oh,
Huh? If you're in the NFL.
Terry Tank Johnson,
Where did he go to college?
Washington.
Played up at Washington, huh? Defensive tackle. Ain't gonna be a badass. You're a defensive tackle. You're a badass. Anyways, and look, I don't totally disagree, but is there any other nation that's racist? Any other planet? I mean, enough already. I'd say it's done more for black people, this country, than it has not. And nobody's answered my question. Every time I read a story, the kid's got 19 arrests in New York. One guy had 54 arrests. It's like, are you kidding me? There was a guy in Times Square a couple of years ago. It was like a homeless guy. 188 arrests. So if it's so unjust, how is he still out there? For the love of Pete. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about this congresswoman. Not to stay on the black thing, but crazy as a shithouse rat. She's like a Maxine Waters wannabe who got into it with Trump. Trump called the widow of a soldier, and this lady was in the car saying, "Oh, he was so insensitive," and we'll get into the details of that and who you believe. And then we got I wanted to talk about CBS stock and the dumper, blaming it on NFL ratings. And the NFL is pulling it down, but it's not just because of the kneel down thing. People blaming it on that. I think the NFL has a lot more problems than that, actually. 866-969-1969. Back after this. Welcome back, folks. Second segment on a Wednesday. 866-969-1969. I was touching on the white disabled fellow being attacked by a black passenger on a bus, and the black guy who killed 3 people in an office in Maryland. And I don't even know what the victim's race was in Maryland. But the point is, if it was reversed, you'd be hearing about it around the clock. Nobody can argue that point. But even when it's mental illness, he was just crazy. But why does it manifest itself in bringing up slavery and whites being that message got through this crazy guy's mind? I don't know. Just a double stand. I'll take one or two more. Then we have to get to this congresswoman, this Frederica Wilson of Florida, another nutbag, 74 years old. She's not as famous as Maxine Waters, but now she is. But that story really fried my apples, as we say here on the show. Tom in Buffalo. Tom, what's going on?
This is Tom in Denver.
Oh,
My fault.
all right.
Am I on?
He clicked on the what? Go ahead. Wait, no, Tom, hold on.
Hold on, Tommy.
We'll get to you in a second. I want to. Hold on, Tom. Tom in Buffalo, line 1. Tommy boy.
Hey, Nick, how you doing? I can stomach you, too.
Thank you.
I just wanted to know, what do you think about the other day the president threatened to take the licenses away from these broadcasters because of their nonsense? I want to know if you got thoughts on that, and what are they? Another thing, I can answer your other question, why they're walking on the streets with rap sheets, is because it costs too much to lock them up, and we don't have it.
Apparently not, according to black people and white liberals. We have way too much money to lock up, and we're locking up way too many black people. They call it the prison industrial complex. Apparently we have tons of money for that. I say build more prisons. I say we don't have enough. And I'm so tired of hearing like they're all in there, wrongly. Somehow they were put in there, that's such fucking absolute nonsense.
My dad, you'll get a kick out of these. He's the Archie Bunker kind of guy, and he refers to them as Dindu. That's the tribe they belong to, the Dindu Nuffin tribe.
Oh my God, that's some nice racism up there in Buffalo. No, as far as you're asking me about, but Trump threatening to pull the. I actually loved it. It was refreshing. I think he's doing it kind of tongue in cheek, but we're supposed to have a free press, not a corrupt press. So if you're knowingly out there fucking lying about the president or whoever, yeah, you should be threatened with losing your license. I had no problem with that at all. Of course, people are going to go, what is this, a dictatorship? Yeah. Well, again, it's a free press it's supposed to be, not a corrupt fucking left-wing press that is so one way. It is sickening. We all know it. I mean, like I said, if Trump's presidency ended tomorrow, he's done us a service by calling these people. George W. Bush used to turn the other cheek every time they said shit about him. And you know what that got us? It got us 8 years of Barack Obama. So I'm glad Trump calls these people on their bullshit, whether it's CNN lying about him or a crazy congresswoman down in Florida in her 70s, making up shit. So
You're talking about Little Maxine down there?
Little Maxine, yeah, Frederica Wilson. Have you seen these pictures of her online? She's on the Senate floor, dressed up in like cowboy hats and fucking. We've gone from Ben Franklin to fucking Flip Wilson characters. Jesus Christ, Tom, help me! I'm dying. All right, Tommy, thank you for the call.
Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks.
Appreciate it, man. All right, now let's go to another. Wait a minute. Do we have any more about? Let's get on to the Congresswoman. Hang on there, Tom in Denver. Eat an edible while you're waiting for me. But whatever. What are you doing? Anyways, President Trump denied Wednesday the account of Democratic Congresswoman that he told the widow of a U.S. serviceman killed in ambush in Niger that he knew what he signed up for, but I guess it still hurt. The minute I read that, I knew if he said something like that, what he was saying was, I could put into context myself. He was saying that's how brave this guy was. He knew what he was signing up for could get him killed, and he did it anyways.
Yes.
But this congresswoman, so fucking ignorant, we have lowered the standards in this country so fucking far. She makes Maxine Waters seem reasonable. And so it was said in a car. I don't know, what was he on speakerphone? They put the president on speakerphone?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. So full of shit. Let me just fill you in on her background. Why she might, say Trump was callous. And then it says she's a reliably liberal Democrat. She's been a member of Congress for 6 years. She's 74. She was among more than 60 Democrats who skipped President Trump's inauguration in January. The perennial cowboy-hatted lawmaker has earned a reputation for missing other events as well, notably votes on the House floor. The Broward New Times reported in 2011 that no member of Florida's congressional delegation missed more votes that year than she did. She skipped 117 out of 948 votes that year. Her tenure in Congress has led her to weigh in, of course, on issues of race and social justice, including in 2013 when she authored a congressional resolution honoring the life of Trayvon Martin and calling the case one of racial profiling. And she told a town hall meeting in 2011 that conservative Republicans were responsible for the high rate of African-American unemployment. Let us all remember, this is her quote, let us all remember who the real enemy is. The real enemy is the Tea Party. The Tea Party holds the Congress hostage. By the way, she's one of Florida's most wealthy congressional members, reporting more than $1.5 million in assets on her government financial disclosure form. But she's saying that Trump said, he knew what he signed up for. That's the tone you get. And she's got an axe to grind. I just read her shitty resume. And, of course, she's all over the TV. Trump did go to a military school. It's just, and we look up at CNN and they, just around the clock. Tom in Denver. Tommy, go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Nick?
Pretty good.
Just heard your show here. I'm actually grew up in Brighton.
Oh, did you really?
Oh yeah.
I lived on Fidelis Way.
Fidelis Way. We're getting a lot of fights up there. I was down by Brighton.
Yeah, I lived out. No kidding, man. That's why when I got out of college, I lived right next to the projects, right down the street from St. Elizabeth's Hospital.
Oh, man. Yep, I was in St. E's. I broke my arm senior year of high school. I went to Northeastern and ended up out here with, when I got out of college. But anyway, yeah, this lady, it's just amazing how she can sit there. And by the way, I'm sure Trump knew that he was on speakerphone with this old bag in the car. I'm sure they told her that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I heard that morning. I was watching her with their glitter on her cowboy hat. And I have horses, and we do real cowboy stuff out here, even though I'm from Brighton. But anyway,
yeah.
And getting back to old Tank there, I mean, he was a great football player, and I like him and respect him.
Yeah.
My wife's from Washington State. But, I get so tired of hearing the same old, blame game. These people, I mean, I hate to say, well, I guess I'm racist by saying these people, but do these people take any responsibility for their own lives? I mean, I just can't believe it. They're always complaining about being down and out, being arrested more than any. Well, you're breaking the law. I mean, people don't get arrested because they're walking down the street because they're black. I'm sorry, it doesn't. And there's always a few bad. You take 100 cops.
Right.
I think my father was a Boston cop for 30 years. Guys make mistakes, but they do not go out looking to arrest a black.
Right.
They have to be doing something wrong, but yet they keep blaming everybody for their plight in life.
Well,
the thing that kills me, Mike, or Nick, I'm sorry, when somebody like Ben Carson, is on running for president, and he did exactly what the American dream is. He was born in a ghetto, an amazing doctor, amazing story.
Uncle Tom.
He's an Oreo.
Yeah, he's an Uncle Tom.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is how screwed up our country. I was in Barnes & Noble a couple of months ago, and there's actually a book out by the mother of Michael Brown from Ferguson.
God.
She's the same lady that was standing in the car with her new boyfriend grabbing his balls and saying, "Burn the bitch down." You know that lady?
Yeah. Well, she's an author now. What a racist country.
She's got a book out. I mean, who is going to buy that book? And what are they going to get on?
I'm getting it tonight. Where can I get it? Barnes & Noble?
Yeah, right. I'll probably increase her sales by, maybe 2 or something.
Yeah, yeah. But no, you make good points, Tom. It's the victim mentality, and they play it to the hilt, man. The Democrat Party, that's all they do, whether it's feminism or race, whatever. That's how they play. You're a victim. You're a victim of white, straight male, white supremacy. It's caught on. Thanks for the call, Tom. I got a bunch lined up.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have fun at Denver, brother. Mamma mia. Here is let me play her. Frederica Wilson. This is what she had to say about Trump and the call.
This man is a sick man. He's cold-hearted, and he feels no pity or sympathy for anyone. This is a grieving widow who is 6 months pregnant. This is a young woman. She's only 24 years old. She weighs maybe 110 pounds.
What's her height?
And she has 2 other kids, 2 years old and 6 years old. And when she actually hung up the phone, she looked at me and said, he didn't even know his name. Now that's the worst part.
So, Congressman, let's talk about that. What did you hear? Tell us about this phone call.
Well, I didn't hear the whole phone call, but I did hear him say, I'm sure he knew what he was signing up for, and but it still hurts.
Liar, whore, and you know it.
Watch out, because I'm...
If we're such a racist country, how does she even get elected? Please explain that to me. And you know damn well what Trump said. Like I said, put in context, he probably said he knew what he was signing up for as far as he could lose his life taking this assignment. You know damn well that's what he said. And then this lady, 74, still in office. What in Christ's creation? Absolute baloney. Let's go to Jay. Jay, another Canadian trucker. Jay, what's up?
How you doing, Nick? How's it going?
Pretty good.
So this is simple, okay? They keep transcripts of all the phone calls that the president has and whatever else goes on in the White House. Yes or no?
Yeah, I believe they do, Jay.
Super. So when Sarah Huckabee Sanders goes up there tomorrow, here's a printout of the transcripts, guys. Put that in your paper and smoke it. It's that simple.
I don't even know.
Closed.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Even in the transcripts, you might not get the context of how he said it. You know what I mean?
If he said it at all.
If he said it at all.
I bet he never said it. Because they said John Kelly was standing in the room with him when he made the phone call.
Right, and he said it was a respectful.
Make a call like that and a comment like that with John Kelly standing there?
I agree with that. But I'm saying he probably used the words. He knew what he was signing up for, but he was saying it as a complimentary. You're right. John Kelly said there was nothing disrespectful at all about the call. So you're absolutely right. And so let's pull out the transcripts. But it's just unbelievable.
And then you know what? File a slander suit against this congresswoman and have a nice day.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate the call. Oh, goodness great. He can't say anything. He couldn't, even if he can't say anything. But do you hear the instinct of the congresswoman to do the victim thing? She's pregnant. She only weighs 105 pounds. What the? She only runs a 4.5 What kind of? Where are you going with that? You know, where are you going with that? Let's go to Mike in New York. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Nick? You're a brave man. Once I heard Tank Johnson, I would have backed up, but you were very brave.
I know. I know. But trust me, I'm sitting there. I'm glad I'm having this conversation on the phone and not in person.
Yeah, it's like a sitcom when the husband turns around. You know.
Exactly. But I like that. It was good to hear from Tank John. He was a hell of a football player.
It was a great call. It was good to hear. That's just a different thing. But no, I'm under the impression that like the media saves stories because the other night, what happened to that Trump Pence hanging comment? It's disappeared because it just didn't work out for them. And here's the next one. And also, this woman's out of her mind. And anyone with a brain could think what you're saying. You know, he was brave. He knew what he signed up for, but he did it anyway. They're just pulling shit out of their ass now. It's really upsetting, you know, because this is nothing. As I was watching Fox and like Dana Perino or something was saying, this shouldn't be discussed in person. This should not be broadcast. This is a grieving widow. She could say what she wants, but a congresswoman like speaking for her, it's embarrassing.
Well, she's politicizing it. That's all they do on the left. That's all they have. They got nothing.
The only thing I'm worried about, though, is Trump's like, I did not say that. I did not say that, which we could both see him saying that in the way that you said he said it.
Right.
So I wish he didn't say that because that might come back a little bit.
Well, no, but people, like I said, I hope there's not just transcripts. I hope there's an actual recording that we can hear because the tone of it and whatever will put it into context. But it's silly to think, I mean, you know, it's silly to think that he was being disrespectful. And they also said he kept referring to the widow's husband as your guy instead of using his name or whatever. So,
it's kind of,
he's not a good look. He's not a good communicator at all, but he's rough around the edges. He's no fucking Reagan, no doubt about it. But damn well what they're accusing him here is, I think, a little over the top.
I think it's embarrassing, and I think it's going to, long run, help him because most people that are kind of smart will see that they're just going for this stuff now.
Right.
And I talked to, And another thing, I mean, not to make it so political, but the lady is 24. She has 3 kids. You know, like that's what they're saying. It's another thing that I know that's weird, but I know I didn't need to go there. But it's another thing.
You did, Mike. What are you trying to say, Mike? Saying, you say these people have a lot of babies. I don't.
Well, I mean, whatever. I'll go.
No, all right, Mike.
You know what I mean?
No, but there are a lot of people. All right, thanks, Mike.
All right, thanks, man.
That's got nothing to do with it. There's people, you know, of all races and whatever, of all as far as economic levels that have. I used to freak out when I first went to doing comedy down south, and you'd meet people the fans would come up after the show. They're like 22, and they have 3 kids already.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I've only slept with 4 girls that week. Listen, what? Uh-oh. Who's up on the screen? I see Fiore's eyes lighting up. Let's go to Mike in Iowa wants to talk to Nick Dipstick. Mike, what's up?
Hey there, Nick Dipstick.
What up,
Rick Giallo? How you doing? You little chess bastard. How you are today?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, dude. Hey, listen. First off, shout out to Tank Johnson, former chief, Kansas City Chief, by the way, man.
Yes.
Stud.
Yes.
But let's get to this racism thing, man, like Tank was talking about.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, you see people sitting for the national anthem and this and that and Trump and this and that, and it's like, I live right here in Iowa, small town Iowa, but right next to me is Davenport, which is in the Quad Cities, which is about 350,000 people, and every night you wake up the next morning and there's a shooting. Just like last night, a shooting downtown. Young black man, 29 years old, gets killed, shot. He's from Illinois, right across the river.
Yeah.
And you hear it every morning, man. And this is what goes on all the time, and it's glorified in rap music.
Yeah.
And I just hate to hear it because I'm not racist, but you hear it in the music you listen to where it's glorified.
Yeah.
Then you see the other people that don't like it, and it's just so frustrating. I don't think there's ever going to be an end to it, to be honest with you.
It's culture.
But I think there is racial injustice. And, I mean, I've seen it even from my end, man. I mean, I don't know if you've ever dealt with the cops or just been in the wrong spot at the wrong time. It's all over. There's right, there's wrong, but I don't know if there's an end to it.
Well, it's not as systemic as they're saying it is. The statistics don't back that up for a second. And I keep pointing to Heather McDonald's book, War Against the Police. It just doesn't. The cops have literally tens of millions of interactions a year with civilians, and 0.001% end in shootings, and you can divide those down by race, and white people get shot. It's a false narrative. It's been pushed for 50 years. It's like a con job, and it wouldn't.
But Nick, how do you look at some of these shootings that you see on TV where cops are shooting black guys in the back?
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, again, that doesn't change what I just said.
It don't change what you said, but it's a shock even to me. A white guy, it's like. Wow.
Well, but how many have you seen, really, Mike? How old are you? How many have you seen?
I've seen a lot on TV.
You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. Literally, the cops have interactions with civilians tens of millions of times a year. And the media cherry picks these stories because people like you will go, Jesus, it's nothing but black people getting shot. More white people got shot by cops last year than black people, and the year before. The statistics, if you keep seeing it on TV, if they keep cherry picking to fit their narrative, you're going to believe it. Most people are going to believe it. But it's a con job. It really is, and people are finally.
It is a con job. It is a con job.
Of course, it's bad.
I've had a couple run-ins with the police where I have not been treated right myself.
Right, and you're white,
and I'm white.
Yeah,
right. I mean, so
yeah. This obviously.
I don't know if you've ever ran into them or whatever, but
I keep my nose clean. I keep my nose clean, and if I don't, somebody busts me across the chops, I understand it.
Yeah, I understand that too. If you're doing,
I did get hit in the back of the legs. I told you at a bachelor party, a fight broke out in the parking lot. I was just watching, and a cop whacked me in the back of the knees in high school.
Hey, man, I love Sirius. This is the first time I've heard your show. I had to call in because I heard Tank Johnson. Love it, baby. Love it.
All right, Mike. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Spread the word.
All right, bye.
I'm just saying, folks. Of course, in every industry, there's horrendous people, but this whole systemic. And by the way, when you cry racial, you cry, institutional racism. What that does is alleviate you of having to actually prove individual cases. In other words, everything, the whole thing is rigged, right? Now you're not obligated to point out individual cases. Anyways, let's take a break. I'd like to do some dick jokes and lighten up the. Jesus, sometimes the story. But this Congresswoman, Frederica Wilson, you people down in Florida, wake up, will you please? Fucking get her the hell out of there, could you?
Wake up, white people.
866-969-1969. The next story I was going to do was about this Mark Faber. It's more race stuff. Let's talk about CBS's stock hurting, and they're blaming the NFL and the kneel-down horseshit, which I don't think is completely true. I'll tell you my thoughts on that back after this. I got brass in my pocket. Knuckles. I took him off a Young Thug. God, this song puts me in Fort Lauderdale, 1980. I'm drunk. I lose my wallet, I told you. 3 days into the trip.
Right, they sent it back.
They mailed it back to me when I got home. It was my parents' mailbox. All the money still there. And a used condom stuck to the outside. And my mother said, listen, fella. I said, mind your business, bitch. And then she made me a nice carbonara. Anyways, that's that story. And that's that. Goodness gracious, Heloise. Ted Cruz, there he is. Grandpa Munster. I actually like that guy. Let's take one more. I guess we got to take one more on whatever. What were we talking about? I don't even remember.
Frederica.
Let's go to John in Santa Rosa, California. John, what's going on?
What's up, Nick?
Oh, you know. Just kicking it old school, yo.
Nice. We're just on fire out here, so.
Oh, Jesus, that's right. That's right. That's nobody's even.
That's crazy, man.
It's unbelievable. John, let me ask you real quick. A lot of those are was that man-made, that fire? Usually somebody sets off the fire, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, the winds were crazy that night, very abnormal.
Yeah.
But on top of that, fires got started in different locations, and it's like, I mean, how does that happen?
Yes.
It doesn't just like, so that's why a lot of people are saying it's more man-made than anything.
Yeah.
So weird, man.
So you're all right, though? You still have your house here or whatever?
Yeah, a lot of people did lose their house, but yeah, we're still standing, so
Yeah.
got pretty sketchy for a second. But
Unbelievable.
We're all good.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your question?
So I was calling. Can I ask you why everybody uses these statistics that you just used? Where like they say more white people get shot by cops than black people, and then there's more white people in prisons than black people. Why do people use that in a conversation when we obviously know there's much more white people in the United States versus black people?
Well,
and we need to talk more about the percentage of that race.
Well, yeah, but no, that's not the question. Why don't you ask black people that when they are? There's obviously.
What do you mean?
Listen, John, hold on a second, will you? There's more.
Right,
that's just a fact. More white people, more white guys, more white people. Get Heather McDonald's book. More white people are shot by cops, and you're asking why we keep bringing that up because the other side is saying that white cops are hunting down unarmed black people, which is totally fucking false. So what are you supposed to say to that?
There's so many more white people than black people, though, in the United States.
And blacks and blacks commit a disproportionate amount of crime. They 13% of the population, and they commit almost 70% of the violent crime. So that's how that balances out, John.
So are you saying that race and nothing goes into the cops when they arrest black people versus white people? You don't think there's a culture within the police force that they discriminate against black people versus white people? Are you really saying that?
Yeah, I'm really saying that. Of course, there's a few bad apples, but like I said, if you go by the numbers, and they have tens of millions of interactions a year with all races, you have to go by the fact. They don't lie. The numbers don't lie. You can look at how many white people versus black people were shot by cops. And the narrative, the whole Black Lives Matter thing, was based on a lie. His hands up, don't shoot. Total horseshit. And the Black Lives Matter came out of that based on a fucking myth. And it keeps getting perpetuated. Of course there's racist cops out there. But they're so minuscule as far as numbers go, if you want to talk percentages. You compare that to what the narrative is on TV. Are you going to tell me, John, you don't think the mainstream media cherry picks stories? Can you imagine if they picked stories of white people being victims of black crime? You know why they don't do that? It's not. You know why they don't do that?
Center versus a nonprofit center.
John, you're
information center.
What?
It's a profit center, so of course they pick the most controversial, most
no.
stories that people are going to watch.
No, they don't do it. They don't show white people being victims of black crime on TV because it isn't news. It happens so often.
Nick, I love you and I disagree with you, but I'm still a fan.
John, I want you to call back, and these are the calls we like. You know, I don't want to sit here and talk to everybody that agrees with me, and I'm glad you didn't lose your house.
Yeah, see?
Just make sure nobody loots it. Make sure nobody loots it, if you know what I'm talking about.
Looters should get prosecuted. I mean,
what? Let me ask you a question, John. What percentage of the looters are white?
Oh, Nick. All of them out here in Sonoma County.
I know.
Very few black people out here, Nick.
Well, after the fires, you don't know. But all right, Johnny.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Call back. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious, Heloise. Every time I say that, I look and Christine's laughing around. By the way, we have a new member to the show, Christina Palumbo, Bensonhurst Italian. And you people out there, the rest of the country go, what does that mean to us? Well, let's put it this way. Back in the day, black people wouldn't go into Bensonhurst, feared for their lives. Matter of fact, Irish, English, who would go into Bensonhurst? Hispanic, Filipino, nobody would go there. Bunch of greaseballs and their wife beaters sitting in lawn chairs.
Among the Italians, it was real greaseball shit.
Colin would Quinn goes nuts every time we talk about Benson. Always talks about the guys sitting in their lawn chairs, the old Italian guys with their wife beaters on, smoking their cigars. But that's where Palumbo's from. She works the phones now. She looks up stories. Very, very efficient. And glad to have her aboard. Fiore was still out. The jury's out. We're going to bring in another kid, Kevin McDougal. Why is Lincoln up there on MSNBC? He racist now? We know he's gay, according to MSNBC. Right? All right, let's move on. Let's clear the phones. I've had enough of that talk. It's been a big night, though. We love it when Tank Johnson calls in. Not Pink Johnson, by the way. Palumbo puts Pink Johnson. Could you be more wrong on that one? Imagine having the nickname Tank when you're playing big league, football. I went out with a girl, Tank Johnson, by the way, in junior high school. Elizabeth Johnson. She's about 5'10", I'd say about 451.
Oh, boy.
Tank Johnson. Let's talk CBS. There's stocks in the toilet, apparently, and... I don't know, Vince. Declining NFL television ratings will lower CBS earnings, according to Credit Suisse. The firm cut its third quarter EPS estimates by 5%, citing CBS softer Sunday NFL ratings. We expect third quarter network advertising to decline 3%, driven by soft ratings for both the summer schedule, of course, a lot of dog shit broadcasting, and for the start of the NFL season. The analyst said CBS Sunday NFL ratings are down 17% year over year during the first several weeks. Again, who wrote this fucking article year over year? During the first several weeks of the football season. Shake was the guy who wrote it, released a similar report last week on 21st Century Fox earnings, which he also expects to disappoint thanks to weaker ratings by the NFL. The stock has underperformed this year, following nearly 11% since January and nearly 3% in the past month. Shares of CBS were down 0.2% Monday. And, a lot of people are blaming it on the whole kneeling, the protest, which I'm sure that's some of it. But I'll say this again, folks. I wish I could have talked to Tank about this. The NFL is a kind of a mediocre product at best. They called it the Socialist Football League years ago because they distribute the talent equally, and all the 98% of the teams are interchangeable, and that's what that's the. Did you really Did anybody really sit home last night, Monday night, I should say, to watch the Colts against, who was it? The Jags? Titans. Colts and Titans. Can you think of and there's a ton of matchups like that every Sunday. Ooh, San Francisco at Cleveland. Let me bite my nails to the quick. It's got a lot of problems, the NFL, not to mention the anti-American sentiment, whatever. The teams, like I said, mediocre. Too many commercials. I try to watch it in real time. I haven't watched the game in real time for years.
Brutal.
I tried it. I almost lost my ever-loving. I can't believe. Why don't they just put it on pay? You pay for the year and you get commercial free. And it is, how the fuck you guys can watch an NFL game in real time. And to add to that, if that's not, do they still do that? They said they were going to change that this year. Let me ask you, Andy, you watch a lot of NFL. When they kick, they'll do 5 minutes of commercials, come back, the guy will kick off, and they'll go to 5 minutes of commercial. Are they still doing that?
Oh, yeah.
That's the most maddening one to me. And then each team has like 19 timeouts, again, to sell beer and fucking chips to us fat fucks. But besides that, replay reviews have I was a proponent of replay because I thought, stupid me, didn't know how to do it. Look at it for 30 seconds and make a decision. But of course not. Not in the world we live in. Let's have the people in New York somewhere looking at the replay 19 times from 19 different angles. I'm mentioning why people aren't watching it anymore. Not just the Kaepernick effect. The overuse of replay, over officiating. They throw a flag every other play. Why don't you call it the push in the back league? When's the last time you saw a punt or a kickoff? I've been complaining about this, I'd say 25 years now. When's the last time you saw a punt or a kickoff where there wasn't a push in the back? Which means the rule is flawed. It's not the players. Change the goddamn rule. Allow one push in the first guy down. You can push him in the back. Solved. Okay? What else? It's a ton of things. Penalties. Even the Pats this year, one game had like 16 penalties. I call it over officiating. You can call holding on every play. And some of these refs, I really believe, my buddy said this years ago, and I think he might have had a point. When they gave refs the microphone on their thing, I swear to God, a lot of these guys love FaceTime. Your families at home go, look at Dad. I swear to Christ, there's one crew. I get single out, I'm not going to. But all this adds up to a dog shit product. It's still, hey, don't get me wrong. It's still better than, curling and girls tennis. Well, maybe not. But I'm saying college football is a much cleaner game. When I mean cleaner, more disciplined. They're trying to get to the NFL. They don't have zillions of dollars. They're not spoiled. They're not lazy. They take it dead serious. The hitting is vicious. I love to watch these guys who you're going to watch in a year or two in the NFL. They haven't been beat up yet. I mean, I always bring up like Lawrence Taylor at North Carolina. The guy was just, I sit down, and it doesn't matter the records. You sit down LSU at Georgia, it doesn't matter. They both could be 2-7. You are going to see just tremendous young athletes in their physical peak, and not to mention the cheerleaders, the male ones. I mean, the asses on these guys, yummy, yum, yum. But all that combined, I would say, is hurting the NFL. Even when this Kaepernick thing goes away, which I don't think people are kneeling down now. It's hilarious. It's like what was the thing? My wife actually gave me a good reference. Well, planking. Remember people doing that? It's like planking now. I had a story here. 4 city councilmen in some city in Michigan, 4 white city councilmen took a knee during the meeting. They don't even know why. I saw a prostitute take 2 knees on 9th Avenue in front of a cop. Protesting the cop, I think. That's what she was doing. That's some wild stuff. But yes, the NFL is taking it in the chin. And again, you better look at your product, Mr. Goodell. It's not very appealing. Games are taking forever. Push in the back. You gotta fix that. Howard Cosell drew attention to that back in the 80s. He's the one that put the stat out there. Back then, it was like 62% of kick plays have a flag thrown on. Hey, brought that up. Something's wrong. It was right. Anybody want to talk NFL? Kyle in Seattle. Kyle.
Hey, Nick. Yeah, I think the one piece you're missing is that they're eating their own rabid fans. Because, like, I can't watch a game on CBS or Fox on Sunday mornings because I've got the red zone. There's no way I'm going to sit there and watch commercials. I'm not going to watch the flags. Just show me the touchdown. Show me the big plays. I can't stand any of the other garbage that goes on.
Okay, but don't you think that's because now you've sort of trained? Like I can't. I have trouble watching a game in real time. But I would never just watch the red zone. You're probably into fantasy football and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm playing fantasy, but if it's not my team, it's not the Seahawks. Like I don't give a shit about a Browns drive against, the Steelers. I just could not care less. But if I'm going to see a play that'll be on SportsCenter that night, then it's worth it to me.
Okay. Well, you sound like, again, you're probably a younger guy, and you sound like they you've been conditioned. I mean, I love the game. I can still watch. I won't the Titans and the Colts. I will never watch that game. But no, you're right. A lot of the teams are interchangeable. And that's just not appealing. Back in the day when I was a kid, the Cowboys were fucking hated, and a couple other teams. So, go ahead.
Well, that used to be the thing. The Monday night game used to be reserved as a marquee matchup.
Thanks for the call, Kyle. Go ahead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was special.
So everybody tuned in because that was the game you wanted to watch.
Well, it's watered down now.
And now it's because everybody's got to have their fair shake. You get games like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's watered down. I mean, you get Thursday night football. It's not special. I was give you an idea how old I am. I remember watching the first Monday Night Football.
Oh boy,
Jets in Cleveland. Go ahead, pull it up. My dad was downstairs. He was doing the books for a friend of his. That sounded kind of nefarious. It was actual bookkeeping for a real company, and we had the TV downstairs. Jets in Cleveland, I believe. And play the opening. Andy's about as good as me on this. We'll have this up at 10:15 tonight. Pull up the opening.
15 seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras.
Porn music.
Slow motion and isolated cameras.
Stand by, videotape, and roll tape.
And tape is rolling in less than 5, in 3, 2, 1.
Take tape.
That's me in a bikini dancing. That's bikini dancing music. This is porn music. Palumbo's dancing in the air. All right, enough. We get it. All right. And then Joe Namath comes out with a fur coat, nothing on under it. There, right there. Joe Willie with his Willie.
Joe Namath and the Cleveland Browns, led by the power running of Leroy Kelly.
Do you hear who that
is?
is?
NBC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by Marlboro.
Do you hear who that is?
Jackson?
Keith Jackson. You're damn right. He was the first guy. Led by the power running of Leroy Kelly. No, I didn't just make up that black name. It's a real running back. He was my favorite running back. Brought to you by Marlboro Cigarettes. Back when things were great, folks. Now it's brought to you by fucking vegan Taco Bell. Anyways, so I'm saying the NFL has a lot wrong with its CBS earnings. But I'll tell you, I just love it. I still love football. And, I mean, can't help it.
Has college gotten bad with the commercials?
The problem with, the problem with the halftime in college is about 33 minutes. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how long halftime. I can't believe the players don't get cold and tear things when they come out of the. But I watch both. But come Sunday, I got to be honest, it's a little bit of a letdown. Like I know there's going to be 19 flags on every punt, and it gets a little boring. Let's go to Alan no, I'm sorry. Let's go to what the hell? Somebody was asking about football on there. Did I lose him? Richard in New Mexico. Richard.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. I'm with you. I love the college game more than the NFL. But the only problem is how dirty the college game is off the field. And if you look at college athletics.
Great point.
Especially, I mean, look at what's going on with Louisville now and Rick Pitino. I mean, that guy should have gotten fired a long time ago. It's just so dirty. The money handshakes at halftime and before the games. And
no, I agree. Go ahead. Sorry, Rich. Go ahead.
I mean, what really gets me is how dirty it is, and then all of a sudden everybody thinks that as soon as they kick it off, everything's fine and they play by the rules. Bullshit. That stuff. The guys are getting paid off. Refs are probably getting paid off, and that's the surly underbelly of college athletics. But as far as the product, I mean, you're right. It's a more exciting product to watch because college guys also still make a lot of mistakes, and teams kind of just hang in there. And there's a lot of great games in college, as opposed to the NFL, where these guys are pros. They don't make the goofy mistakes.
Yeah, they do. No, I disagree with that. There's more blown coverages in the NFL on a Sunday than there are in 100 college games. These guys are ridiculously rich. They grow up poor. Next thing you know, they're getting $5 million a year. They don't take it serious. They don't play hard. But as far as you're right about off the field, the incidents and the stuff that goes on college campuses, I would be disgusted. I'd be afraid to send my daughter to some of these schools with the shit that goes on. And you're right. They get, they're pampered athletes since they come out of high school. They're blue chips. And, they get, when they recruit them, they get prostitutes for them and stuff. And you definitely.
Hostesses, Nick.
Yeah.
Hostesses is what they call them. Thanks, Nick. Great show.
All right. Thanks for Richard. Thank you for the call. Good points. That part does bother me. And I understand people like in the academic end when they go, we don't want the shit on our campus. But then they go, yeah, but we built your computer. We built your labs. We built the we put the pools in for the girls swim. We paid for the library. We paid for the union. There's, and they're like, okay, well, think it over. But he's right. There's definitely a seedy side. You saw that movie Blue Chips, remember?
It's funny. I was just watching it the other day.
With Nolte?
It was just on. Yeah, Nolte
love
and
that
Shaq.
movie. And Shaq. Yeah.
And very accurate portrayal.
Yeah. There's definitely a seedy side. But the product, like I said, the product's better, I think, as far as mistakes on the field, Jesus Christ, NFL. That college has nothing on the NFL. Let's go to Paul in Texas. He's been on the line since Monday night. Paul.
Hey, Nick, what's going on?
Sorry to keep you hanging there, fella. You were down at the bottom. I forgot about you.
I'm a bottom. What can I say, man?
Go ahead.
Hey, can you, what's that, brother?
Your phone's kind of cutting in and out. But go ahead.
There was a truck passing by. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just want to tell you that I listen to you on my drive home from work all the time. I work out here in the oil field. Probably the only, I'm willing to bet I'm the only Mexican out here that listens to you. And, there's not too many conservative Mexicans out here in oil field, man. They don't really get political, but I think you're funny, informative. I was listening to Jim Norton the other day, and he was saying, "Oh, you're always willing to take chances, throw something out there." I think that's what you're doing with this.
I appreciate that. Man. I appreciate it, Paul. There's not many conservative Mexicans as far as the oil fields, but there are, as far as Mexican people go, they're pretty conservative, right? They're religious and.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Don't see, I'm from Lubbock, Texas, man. So I'm like third, fourth generation Mexican here in Texas. And I work over here in Hobbs, New Mexico. A lot of Mexicans straight from Mexico, first generation here, or just crossed the border, and they don't even consider me Mexican, bro. They call me, I'm serious. I'm serious, man. They call me all types of stuff, you know, and coconut being one of them. You ever heard of a coconut? You know what a coconut is?
No.
It's a Mexican version of an Oreo, like brown on the outside, white on the inside.
Oh.
It's just, yeah, coconut, man. And I've been called that all my life. It's just my dad stressed speaking the English language right. He stressed that with us. He didn't want us to be discriminated because of how we spoke,
right?
How we looked is a different thing.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's I deal with that, and it's cool. I mean, these guys are cool with me. I insult them and put them down. So yeah, I don't know if that'd be a hate crime against my own ancestry. I don't know.
Yeah, coconut and coconut crime.
Exactly. Well, coconut, and I don't know what you would call it, just straight Mexican.
Yeah, what would you call it? It's like an Almond Joy versus a mouse. A mouse.
Exactly.
All right, Paul. Well, keep listening, and we love to hear from guys like you. Thank you.
Definitely, brother.
All right.
Take care. Thanks.
All right. I'm a big fan of Latinos, and I've said this a million times. Said it on my podcast. They remind me of the Italians, like the Italians were the last century. You know, hardworking, religious. And if you, like I said, every time you see, they put up names of people who have died fighting for this country. Tons. So I'm a fan. Even George Lopez, who fucking really doesn't like white people, but you know what? His stuff is accurate. He's always pointing out how soft white people are. Yeah, and it makes me, he'll bring a Cooper. He'll use names like that for kids, white kids in his bits. Cooper, sit down, Cooper. What did he got in some shit the other night? I forget what he did. But, yeah, big fan of the Latinos, you know, work hard, and the ones that are here legally. And the illegal ones work hard, too. But I'm just saying. We got to take a break. We need them. No, not on the show. I mean, as far as immigration, both legal and illegal. And we have to take a break on the show. We come back with the final segment. I have, I have it. I have it here. What? I have it. But you signed an affidavit. This committee owes my client an apology, Senator. I got an article here. 4 Ann Arbor City Council members take a knee during Pledge of Allegiance. It's become a fad. It really has. 866-969-1969. We'll be back with a final segment right after this. 866-969-1969. Tomorrow night, Robert Kelly be in studio. The very funny Bobby Kelly. This Saturday night, I'll be at the Westport Inn, Westport, Connecticut, along with the Kendra Cunningham, who was here last night. November 10th and 11th, the Comedy Works, Saratoga Springs. November 17th, Cary Memorial Hall, Lexington, Mass. November 18th, the following night, the Cabot Theater in Beverly, Mass., where I have a ton of relatives. Anyhow, let's go to Scott in Montana.
Nick.
Scotty boy.
What up? Hey, man. This take a knee deal, that all has to, that's all about this police excessive force stuff, right?
Yeah, the play is saying, yeah, they're saying it's not about the military, it's not about the play, it's more about, racial injustice, whether it's the court system or police brutality. That's what they're saying.
Okay. Well, how about this? Instead of the next time they get pulled over by the police, why don't they stop and take a knee then?
I said that to my wife. There's a bunch of I said that on the show, actually, when we initially talked about a bunch of cops sitting at home going, hey, how come we get them to take a knee when we pull them over?
Right. But what are the cops saying about it anyway? Have you heard anything?
Well, the cops, what are they saying about this whole controversy?
Yeah. I mean, seeing all these guys on TV, protesting or whatever you want to call it.
It's funny you ask that because you don't really see their opinion that much, do you? Nobody brings them into the booth during a Monday night game and goes, Sheriff so-and-so.
But they're walking up and down the sidelines,
Yeah. No, it's a good point, actually. You really don't hear from the cops, and I assume that they don't like it. And it really is. It's almost like the players of the Kaepernicks, they really want to be able to get away with, doing what they want. And it's kind of ironic coming out of the NFL, I mean, every week. You ever read the scroll at the bottom? Every week there's somebody getting arrested or something. I mean,
oh yeah.
So for them to complain it's the cops and being, I'm just not buying it. I haven't. You know.
Then what I hear, Kaepernick, he filed suit now against the league
for collusion. Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, I wonder who's gonna prove collusion first: the Democrats, Trump and Russia, or Kaepernick and
Kaepernick
in the NFL. All right, thanks for the call, Scott. Appreciate it.
Later.
I'm so tired of talking about the goddamn. Now it's lost. It's, you know what I mean? Everybody's doing it. What do you mean by everybody? Well, like I mentioned, 4 Ann Arbor City Council members take a knee during Pledge of Allegiance. They did this on Monday. Chip Smith, I'll give you the names. 5th Ward. Chuck Warpowski, 5th Ward. Sumi Kalasapathy. Is this country? 1st Ward. Jason Frenzel, 1st Ward. They moved in front of the council's table, turned toward the flag, and took a knee when it came time to recite the Pledge of Allegiance after the meeting was called to order. Warpowski said the move was an act of attention, concern, and respect. What the fuck does that even mean? Back up your actions with real words. I can't speak to what is in each person's heart, but for me to take a knee is an act of attention, of concern, and of respect. And it's in that spirit that I take a knee at tonight's city council meeting, out of respect for the aspiration that we be a nation with liberty and justice for all. We are, stupid, with full attention that we fall short of that ideal in many ways, and with humble dedication to continue to work that the promise of the pledge may be fulfilled. For the most part, it is. You're holding this country to a different standard that you hold other countries to. What country's more welcoming to different people than this country? So tired of this shit. Take a knee and tie a noose around your neck. Or a noose. Ever tie a noose around your neck? What happened? I'm losing my tongue. During the meeting, Kalasapathy said she knelt, I'm butchering her name and I'm glad I am, she knelt during the pledge to demonstrate her commitment to upholding democratic values. For me, taking a knee is also showing solidarity with a group of people who have been doing this at the national level, she said. Is that what it's for? You sound too dumb to be even government at a local level. Can you name a more fair country, Miss Kalasapathy? Can you? No, you can't. Get off your knees. I don't say that often to women. That was sexist. Oh, boy, I hope I don't get an angry email for some chick with fucking mutton chops. What are you doing, Andy?
I'm responding to something.
Yeah, what is it? A recipe for fucking
Don.
sponge cake? My boy, Don. He's my boy now. City council people who aren't taking knees? Anybody? Huh? I know, there's a nice easy joke in there. Fill it in. I don't have the time. Goodness gracious. Chet in Canada. A lot of Canadians calling this show. I love it. Hey, Chet, what's up?
Hey, Nick. Lest anybody think that you're sexist, let it be known that your call screener is a woman. And as far as I could tell, she didn't sound like she was in distress. The reason I'm calling...
Thanks, Chet. Thanks.
It seems to me that the people that are protesting in a lot of these situations are the people that have the most to gain. Like, for example, the people that protest, like the First Amendment right, they're out there protesting somebody who's trying to give a speech.
Oh.
And Chet just fell off the Zamboni, ladies and gentlemen. He's calling us from a Zamboni. He had the 1/3 of the ice left. Apparently he fishtailed right into the first 10 rows, taking out a... What?
No, I can't go on. You were doing good.
Let's go to Deidre in Orange County. Deidre?
Yes, how are you? I love your show. It's the only place I could go to laugh out loud in my car.
Thank you, Deidre.
But I just wanted to say as a total wraparound, to both the football subject and the take a knee subject.
Yeah.
My son plays football for the United States Naval Academy, and I just can't even tell you the exhilaration of going to a game and watching 40,000 people come to a complete silence at the Star Spangled Banner.
Right.
And to watch those young men playing like decent, upright young men and, just at the top of their game. I mean, it just represents the very best that this country has to offer.
Yes.
There is hope. It's very hopeful.
Yes.
To go to the games and to watch them. And when we just had a recent game with Air Force, and it was unbelievable to watch the amount of patriotism and camaraderie between the guys, and just a wonderful testimonial to the fact that there is still a group of a faction of young men in this country and women that are just unbelievably patriotic and upstanding and a real hope for this country in its future.
Let me ask you, Deidre, how's the Navy doing this year, football-wise?
Navy's doing great. They're 5-1, so they're doing pretty good.
What's that?
The coach is phenomenal.
What's his name, the coach?
Nehemiah Tololo.
Yes, he's been there for a while, and
a mouthful.
Yeah, he's a great
from
coach.
Hawaii, and you never ever hear that. It's become like a standing joke. You will never hear that man utter a curse word. So you hear really old school dag nabbits and darn it, and it's just like a breath of fresh air, and that's why he really truly leads by example.
No, you're right, and I'll tell you,
really a team effort across the board every single week.
It's great. It really is great to watch two military academies play each other. Yeah. Whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Navy, but the Army Navy game, you don't see the trash talk, and you don't see you see they help each other up after a tackle, and
absolutely,
it really is the spirit of the game. It sounds corny, but go ahead.
But you know what, Nick? I have to tell you that more than anything, to see young children, toddlers, running around, coming to a complete standstill at the Star Spangled Banner. I mean, the place will be clamorous, and then at the first bar, everything comes to a standstill.
There you go.
So it's really, having come from a military family, with 4 of my children serving, my daughter-in-law, my mother, and my father.
Wow.
It gives me some hope that there's, these are the things that we really have to. And my son is also a detective in the city.
Wow.
And so he sees the full gamut. He's been there and back to Afghanistan twice.
Wow.
And he's really
the
worst of this city. And the best.
Yeah, well, Deidre, it's compliment to you that you produce such great children and great productive, who went on to be productive civilians, and we thank you. And
but I thank you for your show, and I thank you for your insights and for saying things that most people are too, they're just too politically correct to really say some things that really need to be said, and I appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you, and thanks for the call, and thanks again for your family service.
Good night.
You too.
Okay. Yep. Bye-bye.
It is fun to watch, like Army, Navy. What are you laughing at? Go ahead, Flowers.
No, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful.
Well,
it sounds like every mom that she hangs up the phone exactly like my mom. Okay. Just
yes.
It's a prolonged, but yes. No,
she was terrific. Seriously, to produce kids like that grew up to be,
yeah.
You're not going to see it, I don't think, anybody nailing at a military game. Maybe, what was that? Remember we put that picture up the other night. I don't know if that was Photoshopped or what. Remember? Of the cadet up at...
oh, yeah.
And it said communism's going to win. Was that Photoshopped?
I don't think
Remember,
so.
we were going, how the fuck did he get away with that?
Yeah, his graduation cap.
But it didn't make any news, did it? Anywhere. That one was hard for me to believe. Let's go to Ryan in Vegas. Ryan, what's happening?
how's it going?
Pretty good.
Right on. Hey, I just wanted to touch base with this. Did you say they were taking a knee during the Pledge of Allegiance or the National
The
Anthem?
Pledge of Allegiance.
No, why the fuck would you do that?
I don't exactly. You know why? If they, you know why? Because they don't sing the national anthem before a city council meeting in Ann Arbor, I guess. But if they did that, I'm sure they'd take a knee too. But it's just it's like, you know what it is? It's reflexive political correctness at this point. It's really just it's turned into like an anti-Trump thing more than anything. Don't you think so, Ryan?
Yeah, I believe that. Either that or any of the city council members could never play sports anyway. So.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the sport. Yeah, exactly. In solidarity with the people who are doing it at a national level, but it's just.
But they're pledging their allegiance to the Constitution and our nation.
Well, they're kneeling. Yes, kind of contradictory, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, while they're down there, somebody should push them over.
For sure.
All right, Ryan.
All right. Thanks so much.
You got it. Thanks for the call. Chris in Dallas says the Star Spangled Banner was originally a Mexican love song.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, you didn't know that?
I didn't know. What are you going to hit me with a Jose, can you say?
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ, Chris. You could have sent that Western Union quicker. That joke.
I'm sorry, bro. I try.
Oh, God. You got to try harder, man.
You, man.
This is the big
Hey,
leagues.
What's good on Netflix? I want to catch up on some of your old acts tonight. Since we got a second.
What's some of my old what?
Yeah, well, you have some Netflix specials out there, right? Or some kind of
I don't know.
or Netflix.
I did. I had Raw Nerve was on Netflix, but the last couple have not been on Netflix. Apparently, they don't like my. I don't know what they don't like, but go to CISO. I don't even think that's around now anyway. CISO still exists?
I think so.
Does it? Probably get a few more. If you can't,
I'll look for you on YouTube.
Yeah, I was going to
say that.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to YouTube. I'm sure you'll find something there. Me chewing somebody out at Caroline's on a Wednesday night in front of 20 people. All right, buddy. Take care. Our Father. Taking a knee, you're a city council person. Who sees that? Local access?
That's it. Look at me.
Fucking dinks. God help you. Just sheep. These are people, you get elected to city council, right? Sweet Dave might help us out here from Denver about the cadet and the West Point pictures. What's the skinny on that, Dave?
Hey, Nicky, you doing them two little crippled feet?
One of the funniest songs ever.
Come on back, Teddy Bear.
Your phone's not... yeah, what's the deal with the cadet from West Point?
So this story's a couple months old. I remember hearing about it, about 7-8 weeks ago. And this piece of shit has been all over Facebook and Twitter and, calling for, communists to join the military so they can infiltrate it from the inside and all this other shit. And he's been reprimanded a couple times, but when this story broke, the Army kind of fell silent on it and, said they were going to deal with it in-house and yada, yada, yada. And then you never really heard anything about it. And scary thing is, he's an officer, going out to the field, leading infantry units, and kind of a scary thing.
Well, then I blame the military, the Army, for not doing something about it and kick him out of the fucking Army.
Oh yeah, they should have sent his ass to Leavenworth.
Yeah. Well, so what's that say about? What's that say about the that school?
You take an oath when you join the Army. Defend the country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And if you're calling for people to join the Army so you can get free training and then infiltrate it, I don't know what to say, man.
Why didn't the other cadets?
New world.
The other cadets should have taken it into their own hands, like they did in A Few Good Men, while he was sleeping.
Oh, they should have blanket partied the shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. It makes me sick to my stomach. And I'm not the rah-rah, jingoistic, but I mean, give me a break. That's just...
I mean, if the Army isn't sacred, then what is? You know what I mean?
I would say...
if we're not going to punish people there, then, it's a free-for-all.
That's right.
Get your canned food and ammo.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, brother.
In Denver, they'll get their edibles. They'll dig a... says the producer. Take a knee. Wait a minute. Dave in Columbus says Canada outlawed the burqa today. Is that right, Dave?
Yeah. Not all of Canada. It's a start Quebec. If they're receiving public services like riding the bus or whatever,
yeah,
the politician started goes, look, you see my face, I see yours. But it's a start.
It's a start. They outlawed it in France, right? Didn't France for the first one to say, hey, you can't wear that shit?
Yeah, that's been a while back, but at least this is a little bit closer to U.S. now.
Yeah, Canada's I think rife with. Everybody thinks when we talk about borders and people infiltrating. A lot of shit comes over the Canadian border that we don't talk about.
Oh, that's oh boy, made my day when I read that.
I bet it did. Thanks, Dave.
All right, thank you.
All right. Will in Tennessee wants to comment the Ann Arbor City Council. Will. Willie.
Yeah, Nick. Really, you kind of got it backwards. They need to put the noose on their neck before they kneel, okay?
Exactly.
So that way it tightens up good and tight before you smack the mule on their ass. All right?
Yes. I've never... exactly. I have a whole bit of one of my albums about tying nooses and...
There you go. I mean, it's the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, you forget what's going on in football.
Right.
You look like a moron in your city council, which I know around here, they show that stuff on like the public access channel. Well, you can watch these idiots kneel during the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean,
yep.
If I'm in their ward, it's not going on anymore.
Yeah.
You're out. See you, bye. Thanks for playing our game.
Yeah. No, I agree. Nobody...
Yeah. I don't understand. And I truly don't, and as a veteran, by the way, go Navy, beat Army. It sickens me. I mean, we don't watch NFL anymore.
Well,
as a household,
I don't blame you.
NFL is gone. I mean, that's just our personal choice.
Yeah.
So we're not watching anymore until they get this crap resolved.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think what they're going to do, they're not going to make them stand. I'm afraid the NFL is going to get rid of the national anthem.
Yeah. That is a possibility, isn't it? But that would even be, I think that would be met with more outrage.
It's possible. I mean, as I understand, Anheuser-Busch is already putting pressure on them. And I can say, having been to both SeaWorld, which is run by Anheuser-Busch, and to the St. Louis Brewery, you want to talk about a company that loves service members and veterans?
Yeah.
That's a company to point to.
Right.
Those guys are outstanding. So I am glad they're putting pressure on them, but there's just that sneaking suspicion in the back of my mind.
Although, hold on one second. As far as Anheuser-Busch, they had that commercial in the Super Bowl I didn't care for when they show...
Oh, which one was that?
When Mr. whoever, Bush or Anheuser, comes over as an immigrant, and, people are going, go back to your home country, and blah, blah, blah. Do you remember that? It was kind of,
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, it kind of showed that, the crap that immigrants faced, which we all know. I didn't think they had to put it in a commercial. I got to run, Will, but thank you for your service in the Navy. We appreciate that, man.
Thank you, sir. I love your show. Peace out.
Peace out, brother. All right, I got to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. But do you remember that commercial I'm talking about?
I don't.
It showed Bush meeting Mr. Anheuser or whatever. They were immigrants, and shows one of them getting off the boat, and people are going, go back to your home country, blah, blah, blah. And then it tells the story. Yes, it was Burgess Meredith. You need a manager. All right, folks. Tomorrow night, we got the very funny Robert Kelly in-house. And check me out this weekend at the Westport in Westport, Connecticut, if you're in the area. Thank you to all the callers tonight. Palumbo, nice job. Fiore, nice. This is DePaulo. We'll talk to you people tomorrow. Take care of yourselves.